Audi's first ever summit in Barcelona. The brand new generation A8 makes its world debut. And the much awaited review of the hot and very happening new subcompact SUV, the Tata Nexon. This week we are in Barcelona for the first ever Audi Summit. Now, what is the Audi Summit? I'll tell you all about it. Welcome to a brand new episode. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Partnkar. And back there is the new fourth generation Audi A8. It's the flagship sedan for the brand. That is the big news here, besides everything else that we kept packed in onto this particular episode for you. So let's start off, of course, by first showing you the high decibel, high octane and high energy debut of that car. This is the first ever Audi Summit in Barcelona, Spain. And it's an attempt from the brand to showcase everything it is doing in the foreseeable future. So it was only fitting that we got the world premiere of its flagship model, the all-new fourth generation of the A8 sedan. And it was an impressive showcase, replete with lights, music, lots of action. And even surprise celebrity host Kunal Nair of The Big Bang Theory.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever Audi Summit. And to those of you joining us around the world from the live stream, welcome to Barcelona. You're going to see some amazing vehicles today, guys. Just amazing stuff. This is just the beginning, okay? Today is a demonstration of Audi's vision for the future of mobility. But first, let's just bend time itself and bring the past and the future together.
At Audi, we do not just build cars. We have always shaped the future. Come with us and experience Audi.
Ladies and gentlemen, wow. Here on stage, you can see the DNA of our brand Audi. Audi e-tron, My Audi, and Audi AI. This is what our brand will stand for in the future. And today, we present to you the ambassador of these new values, the all-new Audi A8.
An attitude that crystallizes into the light of an iconic shape.
The car was presented in style using a robotic arm, swiveling it about to show off its new silhouette. The new LED headlights and brand new rear LED treatment, and a presentation of the car's new technologies.
An attitude attitude that defines the technical edge of the future. A feeling of comfort and pleasure in life and on the road. That is the catalyst for more ideas. Ideas that electrify and leave a mark on the future. Ideas that shape a new form of intelligence. One that maximizes flexibility. And creates a new perception of time. Ideas that are empathic. To create more personal freedom. For everyone.
And finally, there it was. Larger, more aggressive and packed with more features than ever before. The new 4th generation A8. So with the new A8, you also get a nice sense of design direction at Audi. It's again an evolutionary design, but it's certainly new. And the big wide front grille may dominate that face, but really it's about the laser light technology as well as the creases you're seeing in the metal. 2 sharp creases in the hood, besides of course the shoulder line that now kind of starts out from the headlamp and then starts to travel into the wheel arch. It doesn't go over it like you've seen with previous sedans, and so that's a big departure in terms of design language from Audi. The new car is larger than its predecessor, but like that car, it too will be made in 2 versions. The standard wheelbase and the extended A8L, which will make its way to India. The A8L is 130 millimeters longer than the regular car. Most of that gives rear passengers more legroom. The brand new rear end styling is a big departure for Audi. Those lovely tail lights that stretch from end to end and offer a cool animation when the car is unlocked and locked are quite a delight. Now let's step inside. The virtual cockpit, that's something you're used to seeing from Audi, and it certainly belongs here in the A8, but really when it comes to the interior, the whole point here is about what Audi is calling black panel architecture. So right from the door, you have this wraparound of glossy piano black that takes you all across the dash. And what it gives you are these 2 screens that are integrated almost into that black element. It's very different, and the car comes to life when you turn it on, because all of this is otherwise absolutely muted. There are no buttons, there are no dials, there are no switches, and increasingly that's where cars are going to go. But what's a first from Audi is that this isn't just a touchscreen interface. It also gives you feedback. It also gives you a little bit of that vibration that you get from clicking a button. And that, I have to say, is really, really impressive. It's something that you don't expect. It also has the pinch zoom and click functions. All of it works just like a smartphone otherwise. And the climate control system also, of course, a touch panel here. Automated blinds for the rear windows as well as the rear windscreen, and lots of high quality materials, wood, leather all around. Ambient lighting goes one step further because you've also got a little bit of an element now in the back of the seat, which is nice. Ambient lighting also means you can change the colors on that, which is always fun. All of that happens with this little touch screen back here. The blinds as well as the lighting, and of course, like I said, you can change those colors. Finally, the fact that you're in the A8, this is also the A8L, which means the extended wheelbase. Of course, these seats, they recline. You can control all of that from right here. And if that's not enough, then par for the course now with this particular segment, the massage function. Lastly, you've got these 2 screens at the back. They allow you to access certain functions in terms of infotainment, but also browse the internet. The A8 also gets other updates under the hood. Quattro all-wheel drive is standard across all variants as of now, and the car will get only 6-cylinder petrol or diesel engines. But in the future, Audi says it will launch a V8 petrol and a V8 diesel, while the flagship of the range will once again have the Bentley-derived W12 engine. And there'll also eventually be a sportier S8 variant with a twin-turbo V8 that currently does duty in the likes of the RS7. And yes, as is the general requirement these days, the A8 will also have some form of electrification in the future with at least a hybrid powertrain. The new A8L will come to India, of course, but that's only next year, and it was the big showstopper at the Audi Summit. Besides this, Audi also debuted its new brand that will feature in every new Audi to roll out in the future. I am referring to AI. Now, AI typically means artificial intelligence, which is of course what Audi is going for, but specifically A stands for autonomy, I stands for intelligence, and it means a myriad features that, like I said, will feature on new cars. The new A8 already has a bunch of them, and here you see the RS7 concept, or more specifically the piloted driving concept, because really when you're already talking about level 3 autonomy, it's only going to go higher from there, and it's concepts like these that will help us get there perhaps sooner than we think. Audi says that there will be an AI button to activate these features for starters before they become standard perhaps in the next decade. This is one, the H-Tron, that's based on the Quattro concept, but what it does is it takes it further by throwing in a fuel cell application, so hydrogen, H, and that's why H-Tron. It first showed up at the 2016 Detroit Auto Show, and you're getting a chance to see it here as well. You got the e-tron version of the Q7. Now, that's the other phrase we're going to keep hearing more and more of from Audi, e-tron. It's not just the existing model portfolio that's going to go more and more electric. Audi has also been putting a lot of money into the electric vehicles side of things, and its e-tron range will only expand in the future too. But while the future focus is increasingly becoming electric for most car makers, the interim need for greener vehicles is not lost on Audi. And like many others in Europe, it is also now finally coming around to the merits of using CNG or gas-based engines. Audi says the summit will now be an annual affair, and it sees more benefit from this activity than simply showcasing at a motor show. While I suspect Audi won't exit any major motor shows, the idea of being able to get closer to the brand and the company's top management certainly is an appealing one for us journalists.
From concept car stage to production, it is rare to see a vehicle stay true to its design. Jaguar did it with the F-Pace, and now Tata Motors has done it with their newest and long-awaited offering in the sub-4 meter SUV segment, the Nexon. Now, this particular Nexon that we have here today is the XZ Plus variant, which means it has a lot of extras on it. So let us quickly take you through those because we think they deserve a special mention. But before that, let us take you through the actual design of the car. Now, the Nexon is a sort of amalgamation of the best of Tata Motors, like a greatest hits album. You have bits of the Bolt and the Tiago through the headlamps represented, and then you have the Safari with this big chunky grille, where it's sort of reminiscent here. Now, it is still a sub-4 meter SUV, which means it is still small, but trust me, when this comes up in your rear view mirror, when this front face comes up, it looks like a full-size car. Now, you also get the likes of the daytime running lights, LED, and the projector headlamps. And as we mentioned, top-of-the-line specs, so you get these lovely white accent pieces all over the car. So you get the one on the bumper, and you also get the one on the side. But we'll come to that a little later. And so we come to what is possibly going to end up being the signature of the Nexon, its side profile. Now, this is, as we mentioned earlier several times, top-of-the-line version, which means it gets these white accent pieces here, which are separate panels. They're not just painted-on bits, and also gets the two-tone grey roof. Now, a lot of manufacturers have gone for the simple black or white, Tata has played it a little smarter, gone for this grey offset roof, and nobody really does this apart from maybe Jaguar and Land Rover. So a little bit of learning from the subsidiary companies, I guess. In terms of other styling bits, Tata made it very clear that when they went and designed the Nexon, they wanted an amalgamation of the conventional SUV look and the two-door coupe. Now that's what they've done. They've got the sloping roofline in place. You've got a lovely little roof spoiler which accentuates that, but you've still got these wide, muscular wheel arches that all SUVs must have. The Nexon does have that. When it comes to the wheels though, well, they are 16 inches. Could they have been better designed? Yes, certainly I think they could have. A little more modern, maybe a multi-spoke design could have been nicer. But, well, these do go well with the car considering the fact that they are still diamond cut or polished wheels. So, an overall package, I guess it looks really nice. The Nexon ties it up really well around the rear with what Tata calls the X-Factor design element, which is also painted in the same satin white as the other accent pieces. Thankfully, there is no large and gaudy chrome here, but a gloss black accent instead. The bumper is well crafted with just the right amount of bulges, and the smaller details combined with the high mounted tail lamps, the Nexon's rear end gets a proper high riding SUV look. Now the exterior design on the Nexon might be really cool, but it's the interior where you really see Tata Motors taking it to the next level. For example, this freestanding touchscreen is something we've never seen on a Tata product before, and it's high definition. It gets Apple CarPlay and it gets Android Auto, which means it gets the best of both worlds and is really great quality. Tata has also redone the user interface of the screen, which means it is much more current, looks much crisper, much newer. And you also get a really great designed dashboard in general. You have the black and the beige on the bottom and the black on the top, and you have this central bar that runs across the AC vents, which is in two shades. Again, you have the gloss black central console and the AC sort of bezel, and then you have this large piece which is almost finished in a shade of liquid metal. Now, that also carries on to the steering wheel and the side panels on the door, and it all ties together really well, and which is something we've come to expect now from Tata Motors after the likes of the Hexa's interiors and even the Tigor. So, in terms of quality, fit and finish, and just overall design, this is definitely a great step forward for Tata Motors. Ergonomically too, with the new central handrest, the Nexon is a comfortable place to be in. You also get a lot of storage space in the central console, but there are no cup holders. Shocking! Sadly though, there is no leather interior option, even on this top-of-the-line variant. The rear bench seat is also sculpted out and feels almost like two built-in bucket seats. Getting in and out of the rear though is slightly trickier because of the sloping roofline, but surprisingly, there's a considerable amount of headroom and legroom. There are areas where improvements can be made though. For example, the quality of some of the plastic trim still isn't the best, and the screen up front could have benefited greatly with a painted or chrome surround. Now, although the Nexon is based on the Bolt platform, it doesn't have the engine that the Bolt gets. So they finally dropped the 1.3 litre Fiat Source multi-jet engine, and they've gone with a brand new 1.5 litre 4-cylinder turbocharged unit. Now, on paper it makes about 108 horsepower, and the big figure though is 260 Newton meters of torque. Now, three things that are very important when it's a brand new engine: drivability, power delivery, and noise and vibration, or just how refined the engine is. So let's talk about my favorites first: power delivery and drivability. Now, 260 Newton meters is a large sum, it's a large torque figure, and luckily it actually translates into on-road performance in the Nexon. You don't really need to shift down when you're at about 40 kilometers an hour or in the fourth gear, and the torque does kick in quite early, especially in sport mode, and even in city traffic or in highway conditions like we're on a single carriageway now. If you need to really overtake somebody, you can just sort of floor the throttle and the car wafts past. The diesel engine is also much more refined in terms of noise levels, but there is a tad bit of vibration that does filter through, especially in full throttle conditions. But overall, a big leap ahead in terms of refinement. It's not just the diesel engine that is new, but also the petrol. Essentially, the Nexon gets the same 3-cylinder 1.2 litre unit that you get in the Tigor and the Tiago, but with an added turbo. Power is boosted from 84 to 108 horsepower, while torque is up from 114 to 170 Newton meters. And boy does it get a move on. Get it in the power range and the Nexon rapidly gets to triple digit speeds without breaking a sweat. That said, the turbo does get along its share of turbo lag, and under 1500 RPM there is just no usable power, which might be a bit of a problem while driving in an urban environment. Gearboxes for both cars are also brand new. Tata has dropped the older 5-speed and opted for a 6-speed unit instead, and it is considerably better than the older ones. You also get 3 driving modes on the Nexon: City, Eco and Sport, all of which can drastically change throttle response and can be selected via a rotary knob on the center console. Ride quality might just be best in class, and no, it hasn't come at the expense of handling. High-speed cornering, for example, is very confidence-inspiring, partly due to the 215 section tires and partly due to the fact the Nexon genuinely has a well-balanced suspension setup. 2 airbags come as standard across all variants, and so does ABS. In fact, the ABS-aided brakes are more than adequate on the Nexon, and the subcompact SUV comes to a halt under emergency or normal braking very quickly and without a fuss. The Nexon is a make it or break it product for Tata Motors. Going up against the likes of the Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza and the Ford EcoSport, both blockbusters in their own right, is not an easy task, but Tata Motors has certainly gone that extra step to make sure the Nexon leaves an impression the first time you see it, the first time you get in it, and the first time you drive it. Yes, there are still a few niggles and rough edges in terms of quality on the interior trim, but overall, the Nexon might just be the new gold standard for this extremely popular subcompact SUV segment. All it now needs is an automatic gearbox.
Now Audi promises us another special model debuting at the Frankfurt Motor Show. Is it the Q8? Well, we'll wait and see. And you know what? The first time you got a glimpse of the new A8 was in the new Spider-Man movie, Homecoming. And so, special guest as we wrap things up today, it's none other than Spidey himself.
Hello to my fans in India.
Hello to all his fans in India. There are millions of them. And with that, thank you. Keep swinging. With that, it's going to be a wrap here on the program. Thanks so much for tuning in. All the details that you've seen today, please react to them. Wear your seatbelts and definitely join me next week. Bye-bye.